नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। गंगा मैया की, जमुना मैया की, भक्ति देवी की, तुलसी देवी की, कलयुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya
कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी मुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरोत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Would like to welcome everyone for today's morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. Text number 11. Kastrupyana tirthapadobhidhanat Kastrupyana tirthapadobhidhanat Satreshu vasuribhiridyamana Satreshu vasuribhiridyamana Yah karnanadim purushasya yato Yah karnanadim purushasya yato Bhava pradam geharatim chinnati Kastrupyana tirthapadobhidhana Satreshu vasuribhiridyamana Yah karnanadim purushasya yato Bhava pradam geharatim chinnati. Kastrupyana tirthapadobhidhanat Satreshu vasuribhiridyamana Ya karnanadim purushasya yato Bhava pradam geharatim chinati. Kastrupyana tirthapadobhidhanat Satreshu vasuribhiridyamana Ya karnanadim purushasya yato Bhava pradam geharatim chinati. Kastrupyana tirthapadobhidhanat Satreshu vasuribhiridhyamana Yah karnanadim purushasya yato Bhava pradam deharatim. Mataji's? Kripanati thabado vidana Satreshu vasuri viridyamanat Ya karnanadim purushasya yato Bhava pradam geharatim chinati. Word to word meaning. Ka, who is that man? Trupnayat, that can be satisfied. Tirtha pada, whose lotus feet are all the places of pilgrimage. Abhidanat, from the talks of Satreshu, in human society, Vaha, one who is Suribhi, by great devotees, Idyamanat, one who is so worshipped, Yah, who Karnanadim, in the holes of the ears, Purushasya, of man, Yataha, entering, Bhava Pradam, that which awards births and deaths. Geharathim, family affection, Chinnati, is cut off. Translation: who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great devotees, great sages and devotees. Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Krishna katha is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance from bondage of family affection. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of the external energy, and it is the only impetus for all mundane activities. As long as there is mundane activity and the mind is absorbed in such engagement, one has to undergo the repetition of birth and death in the current material nescience. People are most influenced by the modes of ignorance, and some are influenced by the passionate mode of material nature. And under the spell of these two modes, a living being is actuated by the material conception of life. The mundane qualities do not allow a living entity to understand his real position. The qualities of both ignorance and passion strongly bind one to the illusory bodily conception of the self. The best among the fools who are thus deluded are those who engage in altruistic activities under the spell of this material mode of passion. Bhagavad Gita, which is direct Krishna katha, gives humanity the elementary lesson that the body is perishable and that the consciousness which is spread throughout the body is imperishable. The conscious being, the imperishable self, is eternally existent and cannot be killed under any circumstances, even after the dissolution of the body. Anyone who misunderstands this imperishable body to be the who understands this perishable body to be the self and who works for it in the name of sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, or internationalism under the false plea of the bodily conception of life is certainly a fool and does not know the implications of reality and unreality. Some of them are above the modes of ignorance and passion and are situated in the mode of goodness. But mundane goodness is always contaminated by tinges of ignorance and passion. Mundane goodness can enlighten one that the body and the self are different, and one in goodness is concerned with the self and not the body. But due to being contaminated, those in mundane goodness cannot understand the real nature of the self as a person. This impersonal conception of the self as distinct from the body keeps them in the mode of goodness within material nature, and unless they are attracted by Krishna katha, they will never be liberated from the bondage of material existence. Krishna katha is the only remedy for all the people of the world because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self and liberate one from material bondage. To preach Krishna katha all over the world as recommended by Lord Chaitanya is the greatest missionary activity, and all sensible men and women of the world may join in this great movement started by Lord Chaitanya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatham Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we would like to welcome everyone for today's Bhagavatam class, and at the same time I would like to seek the blessings of all the devotees present here that I may be able to speak something on this glorious subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and for the pleasure of devotees as well as my own purification. Today is the 1st of April, and like just some time back we celebrated Gudi Padwa, the new year for as per the Maharashtrian and calendar. So similarly for people from the accounts fraternity, 1st April marks the beginning of the new financial year. So yesterday was our 31st of March, the year-end activities, party, we may say, New Year party, many people celebrate. But for people in the accounts and financial world, it is a night out. At the same time, it's preparing for the 1st of April. And like here, it is being described in today's purport. Prabhupada is saying that this material world, these material activities which are there, and of course in material world every activity is surrounding financial activity. So, and it is all actually driven by the family affection towards our family, our immediate family members, husband, wife, children, parents, our relatives, then our society, our country, and even international, like Prabhupada is explaining. And this is the only impetus for all the mundane activities. Today, so much of effort and is going on how we can exploit the nature's resources so that we can declare that, oh, our GDP is this much, or our advancement, we have created so much of flyovers, or so much of roads and tracks, and so much of production is there. But as long as there is mundane activity and our mind is actually absorbed only in this engagement, one has to undergo the repetition of birth and death and continue in this material nescience or ignorance. And like this conversation which we are discussing is between Vidura and Maitreya. Vidura here, he is expressing his eagerness to hear about Krishna katha. In the previous verse, the other day, Keshav Chandra Prabhu was very beautifully describing that how Vidura is expressing that I am tired of listening to other topics about the history of how things happen, about politics and about sociology or mundane activity. And he is saying that I am fully satisfied about hearing all that knowledge and of mundane social politics, and I have no more interest in that. I am tired of all that. He is anxious to hear transcendental topics regarding Lord Sri Krishna, because these topics are not very much, till now Vedavyasji had not described it in elaborate or in detail in the various Puranas. So that is why, that is precisely the reason even Vedavyasji was not satisfied and he was unhappy, and Narad Muni had requested that you should actually write the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Bhagavad Gita, again, that is something which is spoken by Lord Krishna himself to Arjuna, that is also Krishna Katha. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, the various Leelas and about Lord Sri Krishna's activities, his various incarnations, and about the lives of the various devotees, that is given. And so that is the most relishable form of Krishna Katha. And just like as a fire is never satiated or satisfied by as much as wood you put, it wants more and more. When you put more wood, the fire blazes and it says that give me more wood. So similarly, a devotee also, a pure devotee of the Lord, when he hears Krishna Katha, he does not become satiated. When we hear mundane topics, mundane discussions, we tend to become bored of that. Then we want a change or we want a break. But when devotees, they listen to Krishna Katha, slowly they become purified and their appetite for Krishna Katha increases. And so that is what here, the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Krishna Katha is mentioned. And here in this today's verse, Vidura is saying that by hearing Krishna Katha, what happens? Bhava pradam geha rathim chinati. So, by hearing Krishna Katha, what happens? It cuts off one's bondage to family affection, which is actually the cause of binding us to this material world. The attraction towards one's family members, and we have heard so many such stories. So, and how is that possible? That is also explained. He says, Yah karna nadim purushasya yato. Lord's katha and Lord's activities and Lord himself are non-different. So when we are hearing Krishna katha, actually it is Lord himself who is entering through our karna nadi or through our ears, and he enters our heart. You know? And by entering, he actually starts cleansing our heart also. Our heart is said to be full of so many contaminations. And like Shri Keshav Prabhu was mentioning the 6 benefits of hearing Krishna Katha, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. Yat shunvata pati arati vitrishna satvam cha shuddhaya shuddhyati achirena pumsam bhaktir harau tat purushe cha sakhyam tad evaharam vadamanyase chit. By one's hearing of these activities, the dirty things in one's heart or mind immediately vanishes. So normally a person is very reluctant to hear about the activities of the Lord. But when we hear about the Lord's pastimes, especially the childhood activities, they are so attractive and they automatically pleases one's minds and ears. Thus, one's attachment for hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes, and one gradually develops devotional service to the Supreme Lord and attachment to Him. So, 6 things happen when we hear Krishna Katha. First is that apaiti arati, means our Krishna is so beautiful, but still we are not sufficiently attracted towards Him. So this unattractiveness of Lord Krishna, that vanishes. Secondly, apaiti vitrishna, that is another thing vanishes. What? The dirty things in our heart, the various material, we call it kalmash, whatever kalmash is there, all the dirty things vanish, and also we get situated in the sattvam, and we get purified, shuddhanti, and we develop hari bhakti or love towards Lord Krishna. And not only that, and that love slowly develops to sakhyam or the friendship also. That is what is explained. So in material world, we see that normally a person or a baddha jeev or a conditioned soul, he is under illusion. He is thinking that I am this body. Like Prabhupada is explained in the purport, that Bhagavad Gita is an elementary knowledge about Krishna consciousness, and Lord Krishna, he is focusing on explaining to Arjuna that you are not this body, you are the soul. This mundane body is actually Asat, Achit and Nirananda. It is subject to. It is Asat means it is temporary. And it is normally the Jiva or the Atma is similar in quality with the Lord. Lord is Sachidananda Vigraha and the Jiva is also Sachidananda. But when it becomes conditioned and it is comes down to this material world, he is subject to temporary nature and he is under the ignorance and he is also undergoing so much of misery. So this material world or this family life is the cause of so much of misery to each one of us, and that we also experience in our day-to-day life. It is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that the root cause of all our material, this anxiety and troubles is our identification with the material body. So it is explained, Pumsastriya maithuna bhavametam tayor mitho hriday granthi mahur ato graha kshetra sutap apta vittair janasya moho yamaham mameti. So the attraction between the male and the female is the basic principle of this material existence, as Prabhupada was explaining. And on this basis, on the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and the female, one becomes attracted to body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of me and mine, that is, I and mine. So, we can see that this material activities, although we are trying so much of effort, and all our effort is focused only to become happy. You know, everybody wants to become happy, but the eventual, our conclusion is what? That how much ever we may try, we are actually miserable. When somebody in the very early ages, when he is a child, he is thinking that, oh, if I grow old, then I will become independent. I will be able to earn my money, and then I will be able to do whatever I want. He's thinking like that. But later on in his life, he feels that, oh, childhood was actually very nice. I had no responsibilities. My parents were there to take care of my needs and everything. I don't have to work so hard. I had to just rely upon my parents. But later on, when the person is grown up, he has to take care of the responsibilities of his family and all, and very soon he becomes old also. And at that point of time, he is not able to, his senses become so dull, and they become incapacitated, and he is not able to enjoy. So this entire our material life, if we see, it is actually giving us misery only, and there is no happiness. But the bondage between the people, and especially in the family, it's called as Hridaya Granthi, the hard knot in the heart. And this knot is actually very difficult to undo or to open. Even though a man and woman, means even following the Varnashram Dharma in the later stages of their life, they may go to Vanaprastha and try to live separately, but still, to actually be able to overcome this bondage, or this coming out of the cycle of birth and death, is actually very difficult. And so it is necessary that we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna katha. In fact, it is explained how, although the Vrajavasis, they were also having a similar lifestyle. They were also taking care of their children. They were also doing commercial activities to engage in taking care of their family and this. But because Krishna was in the center of their lives, that's why those activities did not bind them. They actually liberated them. Unless we have Krishna in the center, any activity which we may do, that will actually cause our bondage. It's explained, Tavad raga dayastena, Tavad kara graham graham, Tavan mohan angri nigado, Yavat Krishna nate jana. Means, my dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves. Their material desires are like thieves. They are stealing away from him. Their homes remain prisons. Kara graham. Graham means the graham or the house, it actually becomes a karagraha. Karagraha means a jail. So instead of, we actually feel very happy when we are back in our homes. But a person who is actually jailed, he does not think that, oh, I am comfortable over here, I am happy over here, I have good, nice protection. There are so many policemen who are actually protecting my jail. He is feeling okay. But this material world, or this has been created in such a way that when we are staying in our homes and in our engaged in our material activities, we are actually feeling very comfortable and happy. Although it is explained that it is actually a karagraha. And their affectionate feelings for their family members remain as foot shackles. Our affection for our family members, if Krishna is not there in the center, then it becomes like a shackle which is actually binding us. So, we should understand that only when we have Krishna in the center, and that we can have when we start hearing about Lord Krishna's activities and pastimes and make it a daily routine for us. So, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam itself, in response to Parikshit Maharaj's inquiry, that what should be a person doing who is about to die. That was his, because Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die in 7 days. That was the foremost thing he was wanting to know. What should a person who is about to die? And we are all subject to death. We don't know when. And in response to that, Shukadev Goswami says, Shunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantasto hi badrani vidhunoti suhritsatam. By hearing Krishna's katha, who is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor, by hearing about him, we can cleanse the desire of material enjoyment from our heart, and devotees who have developed this urge to hear his message, which are in themselves various virtuous and actually the property to be chanted and heard. So, Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport, he says that the Lord, Supreme Personality of Lord and Krishna are non-different from whatever his katha is. Whenever there is offenseless hearing about the glorification of the Lord, then it is understood that Lord Krishna is present over there, and in the form of transcendental sound vibration. And so, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also in his Shikshashakam prayers, he says that the name of the Lord and his activities are all non-different. So, we should actually hear about the glories of the Lord. And we say that even the gopis of Vrindavan, in the Gopi Geet, when they are praying to Lord Krishna, they say that Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmashapaham Shravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi grinantiye bhuridajana. They are saying that Tava kathamritam, your katha, or the Lord Krishna katha, or the words which are describing your activities, they are the life and soul for those who are suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages, all the great devotees of the Lord, the Acharyas, they are all spreading this message or chanting the glories of the Lord and sharing it with others, so that good fortune can be bestowed upon our suffering souls. And by hearing and broadcasting this, we actually can not only liberate, but rather go back home, back to God. So, in fact, this verse was actually chanted by King Prataprudra when he was during the Rath Yatra time, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was after the Kirtan, he was resting, and King Prataprudra Maharaj was humbly massaging his feet and chanting these verses from Gopi Geet. So when he chanted this verse, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got up and he embraced King Prataprudra. We all know that King Prataprudra had so much desire to get audience from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to be able to serve him and to meet with him. But all the while, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was avoiding, saying that he is a king, he is a materialist, I don't want to associate with him, like that. And now here, he is bestowed by the embrace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he chanted this verse from Gopi Geet. Why? Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation, the purpose itself was this only, to spread the Krishna Katha, or spread the message of the Supreme Lord, his Leelas, so that all the mundane conditioned souls, they can get liberated. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy that when this glories of Krishna katha was described. In fact, even in the Brahmar Geet also, there is a mention that how by hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna, one can actually, he can overcome the attachment to material life and families. And one can actually leave the wretched homes, which are actually like a Karagra, and go to Vrindavan and experience the love of God. So, we can see even from the lives of the Yaga Patnis or the Brahman Patnis, they had actually heard about the beauty and the activities of Lord Sri Krishna. Whenever many people who are selling fruits or butter, milk or like this, they would come from Vrindavan, they are always talking about the glories of Lord Krishna, his activities and all. And by prolonged oral reception, by hearing about Krishna's Leelas, they actually developed attraction towards Lord Krishna. It is explained, Nishidyamana Pitrabhir Bhratrabhir Bandhubhi Sutai Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Dirga Shruta Dhritashayah. So here the Brahman Patnis, they were hearing Dirga Shruta Ashraya because they heard for a sufficient long time about the Leelas of Lord Krishna, about the glories of Lord Krishna. They were able to overcome the family attachment towards their fathers, towards their husbands and brothers, who were actually stopping them. When they came to know that Lord Krishna and Balram and along with their Gopa friends, they are here in near their homes and they were feeling hungry. So Lord Krishna had sent some of his Gopa friends to them. First he sent them to the Brahmanas, who were actually engaged in performing yajna, saying that you go and beg some alms from them and get some food so that all of us can satisfy our hunger. But the Brahmanas, they were so much busy with their performance of yajna, they did not have any the sufficient knowledge to understand that actually whatever we are offering through the yajna is actually meant for Lord Krishna, and Krishna is asking for some offerings to be given to him, and they were not able to give it. On the other hand, the Brahman Patnis, because they had heard about Lord Krishna's activities, and by hearing them for a long time, they had developed attraction. They were not so learned as the Brahmanas in Vedic Shastras and all. Yet, because by hearing the Leelas of the Lord, they had developed attraction. And so, when they took all of the preparations which they had made for the yajna, and they were ready to leave and go to the forest personally, so that they could have direct darshan of Lord Krishna and Balram and the other. But then their brothers and their husbands and their fathers, they were all stopping them. No, you cannot leave. Your husbands are engaged in performing this yajna. You have to be here. You cannot go like that. But then, most of them, they all left, and they could overcome this attachment towards the family and go and meet with Krishna. And some of them, it is said that who were not able to, they were physically obstructed and they could not leave, they actually left their bodies. And they, so this is the power of hearing Krishna Katha. Like we also see the very famous pastime of Rukmini Devi. How Rukmini Devi, she also developed attraction towards Lord Krishna. She had never met Krishna before that. But when she had, by hearing about Lord Krishna from various sages and who used to come to their palaces, she had developed attraction and she wanted to marry with Lord Krishna. But when her brother, they all obstructed and they arranged her marriage with Shishupal. So then what happened? That Rukmini Devi, she wrote a letter and sent it through a Brahmana, where she actually glorifies Lord Krishna and says, Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shunvatam te nirvishya karna vivare harato angatapam rupam drisham drishamatam akhilartha labham tvai achyuta vashati chittam apatrapam me. So she is saying, Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundaradamte. She is saying that, O beauty of the worlds, having heard about your qualities. So her attraction also for the Lord begins with hearing about the glories of the Lord, or hearing about the qualities of the Lord, which enters the ears of those who hear and remove their bodily distress. By hearing Krishna Katha, not only our spiritual anxiety is removed, but bodily distress is also removed. And having also heard of your beauty, which fulfills the visual desires of those who see. It means Lord's beauty is so relishing for our eyes to see. And because of that, I have fixed my mind now upon your good self. So in this way, Rukmini Devi is also glorifying that to develop an attraction or attachment to the Lord, it can begin only by hearing the glories of the Lord. And we also see in how this the lotus feet of the Lord is actually described as the sum of all the holy tirthas. And going to so many tirthas are there, but the lotus feet of the Lord, it is said, is the ultimate destination of all tirthas. So it is explained that those devotees who carry the Lord in their hearts, they actually become like personification of tirthas or holy places. And wherever they go, they perform the job of a tirtha or a holy place, that is to purify oneself. And in fact, they become so powerful, it is explained that they even purify the dhams or the holy places. It is said, Bhavat Veda Bhagavatas Tirthi Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthena Gadabrata. So, the Lord's devotees or the pure devotees, the acharyas, they have become so powerful because they always carry the Lord in their heart, that they are able to purify all the individuals, whomever they come in contact with. It is said, like Ganges purifies only when you take bath in that. But when you meet, even for a lavamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoye. Means just by a small connection or small interaction with a sadhu, one can actually purify one's existence. And so, that is the purpose actually why Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has incarnated. Like just some time back we celebrated Gaur Purnima festival. And the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent is that he wanted to show by his own example that how this devotional service has to be performed. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came, he is the Supreme Lord Krishna himself, but he comes in the mood of Srimati Radharani, because the mother is always more compassionate and more forgiving than the father. So by taking, although Krishna said, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja, in Bhagavad Gita, he tells that if you surrender unto me, I will take care of you. I will eradicate all your papa and give you moksha. But then how this is to be done? That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and shows us, and he with his own, he comes as a devotee and explains, just like a teacher, she teaches a small child how to write the various alphabets. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he shows by his own example. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also would always hear Srimad Bhagavatam. When he used to, in his Antya Leela, means pastimes, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he explains how along with Gadadhar Pandit, he would always hear Krishna Katha, Srimad Bhagavatam, in sitting in the Toto Gopinath temple. And again, hearing the same stories. Many a times when we hear a story or we hear Bhagavatam, many a times we feel, Arey, I've already heard this, I know I have heard this. But then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would hear, and his favorite pastimes were the pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and like that. Not that he would want to hear only the Rasa Leela pastimes. So he was more focused on, and he is showing by his own example that our focus when we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we should hear about those pastimes where the relationship between the Lord and his devotees, how the devotees in their own prayers, actually Dhruv Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, when they get the darshan of the Lord, they are praying for the association of devotees. Our Gaur Vilas Prabhu was recently, he was describing that how the devotees, they are not hankering for the association of the Lord. Rather, they are hankering for the association of the devotees of the Lord. Why? Because when we associate with the devotees, they are always chanting the glories of the Lord, chanting with the various leelas of the Lord. And by hearing that, we can actually elevate our consciousness. So, the purpose of our this mundane life or is actually to develop Krishna consciousness. So, we have to develop a consciousness where we are having love for the Lord, and that can best happen when we are actually in the association of devotees. As it is explained, Ekanta labham vachasona pumsam shushloka mauler gunavada mahor shrutescha vidvabher upakratayam katha sudayam upasamprayogam. So, the purpose of our life should be that to preach Krishna Katha all over the world, as is recommended by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as Prabhupada is explaining, all men and women, each and every one of us can actually participate in this Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is encouraging each and every one of us, Amaragya Guru Hoya Taro Desh Jare Dekhe Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. So just by following this instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the various acharyas and Lord and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, by his mercy, we have actually got this treasure of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And by regularly hearing about these subject matters and by reading them in our own lives and by preaching this message to all the suffering humanity, we can not only help them, but actually help ourselves and develop love of God, which is actually the goal of our human life. So thank you all very much for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavat Purana ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.